today. I am a role model, says Angel Reese. I take that seriously, says Angel Reese. Okay, girl, you're my angel. Okay, fine. Angel Reese is the example we want to set for the people that we are being role models to. Is the example that we want to set. If we don't get our way, we throw a temper tantrum. If we don't get our way, we throw a hissy fit.
Can you even believe what we're witnessing? The roar of the crowd, the thunderous applause, but for what? Not for a game-winning shot, not for some incredible display of leadership. No, Angel Reese is getting a hero's welcome for literally quitting on her team mid-game, as if she just delivered a masterclass in how to completely abandon your responsibilities. I mean, seriously, when did giving up and walking away become the new slam dunk, the new highlight reel that everyone wants to see? This is exactly like going to a seminar and watching the motivational speaker, the person who is supposed to inspire you, slam the microphone down and storm right off the stage in the middle of a sentence, and yet somehow, for some inexplicable reason, the crowd just leaps to their feet and applauds. So you better buckle up, because the story we're about to dive into goes way beyond the court. This is a story that has very little to do with the actual sport of basketball.
It is over. That is the last you will see Angel Reese in a Chicago Sky uniform with the antics and the stuff she pulled to end this season. She straight up quit on this team the last 3 games of the season, refused to play. She disrespected her teammates. Her teammates went back and fired back, letting it be known, hold on, shorty, we're not going for that. Now the Angel Reese stands invaded the Chicago game, screaming out, fire Jeff P, who is the GM.
From the sheer sound of that ovation, you would have sworn she had just put up a 50-point triple-double, shattered a decade-old record, and then spent the next hour signing autographs for a busload of orphans, all in the same night. But that's not what happened. Not even close. The cheers, the standing ovation, all of it came from her doing the absolute polar opposite of greatness. She quit, she just gave up. She literally took her ball and went home, right in the middle of everything. And for some bizarre, unfathomable reason, that was the exact moment the crowd chose to completely lose their minds, erupting with the kind of energy you'd expect if championship confetti were raining down from the ceiling. Just try to imagine the fans, all hyped up telling their friends, "Oh man, I can't wait to watch my favorite player, Angel Reese, ball out tonight," only to show up and get that.
I'm all excited. Oh, I'm gonna watch my favorite player, Angel Reese, only to find out, oh, she's busy sticking it to the man. The Chicago Sky organization. Hey, why isn't Angel Reese playing, Mom, Dad? Well, she threw her teammates under the bus. The organization reprimanded her accordingly, and now she just quit on the team. Oh. Is this somebody I should be looking up to? No. Let's get out of here, son.
So let me get this straight. If quitting on your team mid-game is now the new accepted definition of greatness, then we owe a whole generation of middle school athletes some seriously overdue MVP trophies. By that logic, every single time little Timmy had a complete meltdown and stormed off the soccer field because the referee didn't call a foul in his favor, he wasn't just having a childish tantrum, he was actually executing a brilliant Hall of Fame level maneuver. Who on earth could have possibly known that the secret, untapped pathway to thunderous applause was just pouting, giving up, and walking away from your responsibilities? If this is truly the new standard we're setting, then we have been fundamentally misunderstanding the entire concept of sports for centuries.
Jeff, fire Jeff. That is Jeff Pagliosa, the GM of the Chicago Sky. Damn, I can spot a nickel in the 3rd row, section C3. Angel Reese, you ain't selling no tickets. You ain't selling no tickets. I can spot a nickel right there. Right there. Listen, the Angel Reese fans letting it be known, they want this GM fired, y'all. This is not ideal. I pour my heart and soul into this job. I lose sleep over losing. If anyone is going to take the bullets, I'd rather be me over our head coach or our players. Jeff P out there on his own, man.
Forget all that hard work, man. Forget the grueling, thankless hours of practice, Forget the exhaustive conditioning sessions that push you to your absolute limit. Apparently, none of that matters anymore. All you truly need to succeed is a flair for the dramatic exit and a loyal fan base that's more than willing to stand up and clap for your absolute worst decisions. And what's truly mind-boggling is that Angel Reese was supposed to be the antithesis of all this. She was positioned as the powerful symbol of women's basketball's incredible, hard-fought ascent. She was supposed to be the very face of grit, the embodiment of hustle, and the definition of unapologetic swagger. She was the one kids could point to as living, breathing proof that relentless, unwavering hard work will always triumph over flimsy excuses.
Angel, are you frustrated with the organization or frustrated in general?
I don't think I'm frustrated. I probably am frustrated myself right now. I think the language is taken out of context, and I really didn't intentionally mean to put down my teammates because they've been through this with me throughout the whole year. They've busted their ass just how I busted my ass. They showed up for me through thick and thin and in the locker room when nobody could see anything. So I would apologize to my teammates, which I already.
She says she would apologize to her teammates, but what lesson is being broadcast to the world? They're receiving a crystal clear lesson. When the going gets tough, just leave. The kids who once idolized her aren't looking at her scoring averages anymore. No, they're studying the fine art of the dramatic mid-game walk-off. I can just picture it now. Somewhere out there, a 7-year-old is standing in front of their bedroom mirror perfecting their angry exit shuffle, because that's the powerful, lasting image their supposed role model just burned into their mind. And you have to consider this within the context of how far women's basketball has surged forward. Visibility is skyrocketing, ratings are climbing, and people are finally genuinely tuning in.
Reese, she's shutting herself down for the rest of the season.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah.
Oh my god.
You know what? She's not gonna be missed.
No, that's ridiculous, man.
Here we go. Alabama versus Wisconsin. Alabama's ranked number 19 right now. I would take Alabama.
That is precisely what makes this whole saga so utterly confusing. You have fans applauding this moment as if she had just performed some noble, incredibly courageous act. It is the moral equivalent of clapping for a firefighter who drops the hose and says, "You know what, fellas? These flames are just a little too hot for me today. I'm going home." You would never, ever cheer for that. You wouldn't dare call it empowering. You'd be standing there in stunned silence, asking what on earth just happened and why in God's name anyone would think to reward it.
She has her little like back warmer brace thing around her warm-up gear. She didn't even have her hair tied up, and she didn't play in the first half. And then after the first half, we get this announcement. So you guys, this is actually in the middle of the game. She has never entered the game yet. We get this announcement. It says, after serving a suspension during the first half of tonight's game versus the Las Vegas Aces, Angel Reese has been ruled out for the second half due to a back injury for the team. I'm laughing because it's just all so common.
Yet, here we are, in the completely upside-down universe of modern sports fandom, where abandoning your post somehow gets you a standing ovation. And this is exactly where that whole role model factor becomes so incredibly precarious. Athletes don't get a choice in the matter. The second they go viral, the second those endorsement deals are signed, they are role models, whether they like it or not. And when those kids see Angel Reese clapping back at her critics one day and then storming out of a game in a huff the next, they're not learning a single thing about resilience. They're learning a much simpler, more toxic lesson: drama wins. Now, I get it. Every athlete has bad days, but the applause, that's where this story takes a dark and twisted turn. Because when you cheer for quitting, you're sending a message that is louder and more impactful than any motivational poster ever could be. You're telling an entire generation of kids that it's not about pushing through adversity. No, it's about knowing the perfect moment to make a scene so that people will clap for you. It's not about being a team player, it's about making sure you are always the main character.
Tyler Marsh credit. That was some good bullshit. This dude is a master polisher. Tyler Marsh went above and beyond. He didn't just use the regular polish. This dude grabbed the chrome polish and put a double coat on this turd. For the most part, I noticed that Tyler Marsh was talking about Angel Reese on the court. He was talking about her preparation. He was talking about her work ethic. He was talking about her commitment to pretend basketball, her competitive.
Those role models are supposed to show kids that no matter how rough it gets, you stay in the fight. You don't have to win every battle, but you show up.
This is where sports culture is getting truly weird. Forget the scoreboard. Forget the fundamentals. Forget the relentless grind that builds character. Just make sure you make the headlines, and then sit back and watch the fans cheer as if you just single-handedly cured world hunger. The deep-seated problem here is that this kind of behavior doesn't just hurt Angel Reese's reputation. It hurts the entire sport. Women's basketball is finally, deservedly, in the national spotlight. And instead of showcasing the incredible resilience within the league, the biggest story is about someone quitting mid-game and being celebrated for it. That isn't growth. That is self-sabotage, wrapped up in a bow of misguided applause.
Like everything has come to a head, and when one of the biggest sports media entities in the country, The Athletic, which is now owned by the New York Times, comes out and makes this statement, well, maybe this is exactly what we all thought. Angel Reese may have thrown her teammates under the bus, ran the bus over them, and then proceeded to just quit and protest on the team.
Why are people applauding something so obviously toxic? A huge part of it is the social media effect. People love a good villain-turned-hero narrative. They feed on chaos. They crave the drama. But here is the critical twist. Kids do care what their role models think. And when their role models tell them that walking away is an act worthy of applause, those kids are the ones who will ultimately pay the price. It is not an act of empowerment to quit on your team. It is not a sign of strength to walk away from teammates who are still fighting. It is pure ego, dressed up in the costume of bravery, and people are clapping because they don't want to admit they're encouraging the wrong thing. Picture this: a little league kid strikes out, throws his helmet, and stomps off the field. Imagine the parents standing up and giving him a round of applause. Everyone would think they'd lost their minds.
Marsh has the toughest job because he's got to deal with the constant drama of Angel Reese and Angel Reese. Well, Casey, what do you mean? There's only one Angel Reese. There are two. There is Angel Reese Jr., the pretend basketball player, and there is Angel Reese Sr., better known as Mama Reese, the professional clapping back at the hater.
The whole point of sports is to teach life lessons that no matter how rough it gets, you stay in the fight. Except now, the lesson is quit loudly and people will clap. And let's be honest, this applause wasn't really about bravery. It was about people wanting to feel like they were a part of a moment, but that spectacle backfires. When one high-profile player gets applauded for quitting, it sets a tone. Suddenly, quitting isn't giving up. It's reframed as making a statement. It's not weakness, it's empowerment. And you'll see all these takes about how Angel Reese was setting boundaries. But a competitive basketball game isn't a yoga retreat. That isn't setting boundaries. That is called abandonment.
I think Angel Reese, and I'm saying this with my chest out, I think she's quit on the Chicago Sky. She's been claiming a back injury.
Angel Reese, this is enough. She said, I can't wait for the season to end. Hawaii calling my name. I need a little break from America for real. Girl, do you know that Hawaii is in America? You must be the dumbest thing to ever walk this earth. You talking about you make $1,400 in 7 days, while we make it in a week. Same thing. I'm starting to think you're dumb, Angel Reese, or you're clip farm. You're trying to be like Flight, but you're...
This isn't some grand feminist victory either. This is about lowering the bar so far down that the act of quitting is now being framed as something revolutionary. Women's sports don't need lowered standards. The bigger tragedy in all of this is that Angel Reese is an incredibly talented athlete, but she's choosing to be known as the walking headline, the drama queen of the court. And what kind of message does this send to sponsors, to networks, to the very people who are finally starting to put serious money into women's basketball? At the end of the day, the fans need to decide what they truly want. Do they want women's basketball to continue to grow into a respected, inspiring sport, or do they want it to devolve into a cheap reality show where clapping for chaos becomes the main attraction? Because right now, the applause is saying one thing loud and clear: they want the drama,